The colonial fort overlooking the northern banks of the Sarawak River looks mismatched against the village backdrop. A stone's throw away from the steamy tropical jungles of Sarawak. From a distance, the whitewashed structure resembles a medieval castle. This is Fort Margarita, one of the best colonial architectures in Sarawak. Built by Charles Brooke, the nephew of the first White Raja, James Brooke, in 1879, this compact hilltop fortress long protected Kuching against surprise attack by pirates. An unmistakable landmark by the Sarawak River, Fort Margarita is an important monument in Sarawak's history. The fort is named after Brooke's beloved wife, Margaret Alice Lily de Wind, whom he married at Highworth, Wiltshire in 1869. She was raised to the title of Her Highness the Rani of Sarawak upon their marriage. The fort lies across the Astana, a majestic palace also built for the Rani. The building design was based on an English Renaissance fort and palace. Under the second Raja, it was used as a defense fort for the army, an armory store, a prison, and a control center. The three-story tower block's battlement includes a watch point. Behind the exterior high walls is an open courtyard which was once served as an execution ground for prisoners. Executions were carried out here till the Japanese occupation in World War II. Set into the walls are wooden windows from where cannons were fired. The fort was never saw battle due to the fact that its then impressively built structure was adequate as a deterrent to approaching pirates of that time. Fort Margarita's cannon were and still are all trained on the river. Until the 1960s, a cannon would be fired from the fort every evening at 8 p.m., signaling the end of the workday and visitors to the Astana. Another cannon would be fired every morning at 6 a.m. The corners of the fort's outer walls are reinforced with little watchtowers, the walls slashed with loopholes for defense. These sentry towers are bare, except for one. A set of old head trophies inhabits this room. An Iban Longhouse community donated this to the Sarawak Constabulary in 1972. In 2012, the Brooke Trust announced that it would champion a Brooke Gallery to be housed in the fort. This project was realized in 2016, coinciding with the 175th anniversary of the founding of Sarawak. As we gaze at the fort from across the serene waters of Sarawak River, we feel a sense of pride and calmness. Adding to the charm of Kuching, the fort is one of the most photographed buildings in the city. Like a tapestry of life, these woven textiles represent the heart of the Iban culture. Each weave, every knot, and every single thread intricately weaves the tribe's beliefs, culture, and lifestyle. This is the story of the sacred blankets, the Puak Kumbo. As in many societies, weaving was always the work of women, and her status in the community can be revealed from the motifs that she weaves. Puak, which means blanket, and kumbo, which means to cover, also has various designs for occasions such as weddings, childbirths, and even funerals. There are many designs of the puak, and several designs may be used for various rituals.
The puak kumbo is a ceremonial blanket measuring about 4 by 8 feet. A small piece, we don't call it a puak kumbo. It is either a shawl or selampai. And the puak kumbo is woven using a resist ikat tie-dye technique. And it's made using backstrap loom.
According to master weavers, the intricate patterns and designs weaved onto the yarn are not planned artworks. Instead, these detailed patterns are visions and dreams believed to be shown to them by divine sources. Each blanket has a story to tell.
There used to be many uses for the puak kumbo, from birth to death, and even after death. They are also used for major festivals, and they are also used for sacrificial offerings. For example, in an offering ceremony, it is used as a placemat for putting the offerings.
The Iban believed that a spirit would exist alongside their mortal realm, and the Puak Kumbo is a reflection of that connection. These sacred dreams and visions are only for the chosen ones who are inspired to translate and materialize them into special motifs, symbols, and even colors in their weaving. Each motif depicts a fascinating tale and sometimes omens, which are to interpret by the eyes of the beholder. Motifs depicting certain animals or figurines can only be woven by master weavers or weavers of special positions in the community, such as wives and daughters of village chiefs. This is to ensure that the puak does not cause harm to the community due to its spiritual potency.
A weaver takes a long time to acquire skills. So in our Iban society, the more skilled and the more accomplished she is, the higher the status in the society.
Today, traditional Puak Kumbo weaving is mainly found in certain villages and longhouses in Sarawak. One can still find many master weavers in Kapit.
The Tun Jugah Foundation, one of the objectives is to preserve the technique of Iban ikat weaving. Museum and Gallery was founded in 1999 by the late Datin Ama Margaret Linggi, who was also a weaver.
The weaving culture of these Iban women is slowly dying out. and more young Iban women are leaving the villages to make a living in cities all over Sarawak. This leaves a void in the transfer of knowledge passed down from the older generation, which was the practice for centuries. Early transportation in Southeast Asia heavily depended on rivers. Sarawak was no different. Many settlers who came into the area then came in via the Sarawak River. Running alongside the river is the main bazaar, the oldest street in Kuching. This is where the first early Chinese traders set up shop. This is a story of Sarawak's Chinese community. In 1839, while Sarawak was still under the Bruneian Empire, only a few households inhabited the area. However, after James Brooke took Sarawak from the Brunei Empire, security in the area improved, attracting an influx of Chinese immigrants. The earliest settlers in the area were the Hokkien businessmen who stayed near the Tua Pek Kong Temple. Teochew businessmen came soon after and built more shop houses along the western part of the street and named this area Shun Feng Street. This area is now known as Carpenter Street and China Street. However, on 20th January 1884, a huge fire razed the area and about 160 shop houses were burnt. After the fire, Raja Charles Brooke announced that all new shop houses should be rebuilt with non-flammable brick walls and tiles. Many of the rebuilt structures still stand today. After the Hokkien and the Teochew came the Hainanese people. Since the other ethnic groups dominated trading and business, the Hainanese became helpers of colonial officers during that time. Initially, they sold food items as mobile vendors, but soon set up coffee shops along Carpenter Street and became pioneers offering delicious Hainanese cuisine renowned till today. Many of the families of these early Chinese settlers still remain in the area, pursuing tinsmithing, carpentry, and petty trading. The Siu Santeng Tua Pek Kong Temple presides of the main bazaar in Kuching. Built in 1876, it is the oldest Chinese temple in Kuching. Its name Tua Pek Kong is literally translated as great-grand uncle. The Chinese History Museum is located across the temple. The building was constructed in 1912 by Charles Viner Brooke and was headquarters to the Sarawak Chinese Chamber of Commerce until 1921. The museum traces the history of the Chinese community in Sarawak. At the end of the street lies the Hong San Si Temple. This Taoist is one of the most ornately decorated houses of worship in Kuching, with beautiful ceramic artwork on its columns and a jaw-dropping ornate roof. Dragons, phoenixes, and other mythical creatures seem to prance on the narrow ridges of the curved roof and eaves. The temple is located at the junction of Iwi High Street and Wayang Street, All Quarter. Dedicated to the Hokkien child deity Kong Tek Chun Ong, It is claimed to date from 1848. It is widely believed that the child deity appeared on the rooftops of Iwi High Street during the Great Fire of Kuching in 1884, warning the people and summoning the rain to put out the fire. The Chinese community of Sarawak makes up 24% of the population of Sarawak and consists of the communities built from these economic migrants of the 19th and early 20th century. Although Chinese traders first settled in Main Bazaar, Kampata Street, and Gambia Street, today, Padungan is known as Kuching's Chinatown. Built during the rubber boom, Padungan still provides the experience of walking down memory lane of Kuching in the 1920s. Today, Padungan is home to many quintessential stores dealing in hardware, fruits, old-fashioned bakeries, and florists. In modern-day Sarawak, the Chinese community still plays an important role in the state's economic progress and development. For many, taxidermy sounds and feels old-fashioned, but it is a vital tool that teaches about the huge range of life on Earth. Taxidermy is an essential part of museum work in natural history museums. Their objectives are to collect, research, preserve, and communicate. Good taxidermists can display animals in anatomically correct positions, allowing the subject to come to life before one's eyes. Still Life, the story of taxidermy. This is Affendi bin Muhiddin. Affendi and his brother Mahmud are third-generation taxidermists here at the Sarawak Museum. Their father, Encik Muhiddin bin Shahabudin, was a taxidermist in service under the renowned explorer, ethnologist and archaeologist Tom Harrison, who was curator of the Sarawak Museum in the 1940s. His father before him was also a taxidermist, serving under Mr. E. Bartlett in the late 1800s.
Saya belajar dulu daripada bapa saya sendiri, selang beberapa tahun. Selepas dia bersara, saya mengambil alih tempat dia hingga sekarang. Saya bermula umur saya 20 tahun, sudah masuk 33 tahun macam tu sampai sekarang. Sewaktu saya berumur belasan tahun, mungkin ada sedikit sebanyak ada mengikuti apa yang ayah saya buat kat rumah tu. Ada dia ajar sedikit-sedikit tapi belum mendalam.
Museums use taxidermy to preserve an animal for future study. The techniques used currently are almost identical to those used in the past, with exception of more sophisticated chemical available today.
Bagi saya, proses pengurutan ini penting terutama untuk kajian. Kerana mungkin spesies ini kita tak akan jumpa lagi, mungkin beberapa tahun akan datang sudah pupus. Mungkin inilah peninggalan yang kalau kita buat cara awet ini mungkin ada peluang untuk kita simpan untuk berpuluh tahun lagi akan datang untuk tujuan kajian. Itu yang pentingnya.
The sharp scent of preservation chemical lingers in the air at Affendi's workshop here at the museum. Lifeless eyes peer at you as you enter. The gaping jaws of a 12-foot long crocodile dominating the space awe you immediately. It is a room that is filled with wonder and mystery to an untrained eye.
Pendek kata yang spesies ada di Borneo ni lah. Semua ada daripada serangga sampai buaya yang besar-besar. Kerbau tu lah, lembu yang paling besar lah. Saiz ada di awet dekat sini. Contoh seperti buaya kan, saiz dia besar. Mungkin dia ambil masa sehingga 1 bulan untuk menyiapkan dia. Kalau dia kecil, mungkin kita cuma ambil masa 1-2 minggu je. Cuma bagian yang kita pakai itu bagian tengkorak, tulang, ada 1-2 tulang yang penting je. Yang penting ya kulit dia. Yang lain tu isi tu kita tak pakai. Kita akan gantikan dengan badan tiruan. Lagi kita nak tengok, semana mungkin kita nak buat sikit-sikit sentuhan lagi, nak catkan dia apa-apa. Dan masa tu kita kena pantau.
Affendi is at work. To master taxidermy, one needs many years of practice and specialist knowledge. Capturing the living essence of an animal is a job that is delicate. Many of those proficient in this field consider themselves as artists. The animals here are subjects of accidental death, natural causes, and roadkill. There are no killings. This is a steadfast rule here.
Bagi pendapat saya, sekurang-kurangnya ada yang masih berminat kerja ini, terutama kepada generasi yang akan datang untuk peluang mereka dapat melihat spesies-spesies ini. Sekurang-kurangnya ada 1-2 lah mengganti tempat nanti.
Taxidermy will stand the test of time as it engages with the tactile sense. Visuals will never be able to provide the experience of the softness of fur or the sharpness of claws and teeth. In the taxidermist's hands, even extinct animals can look alive. But preservation is one thing, and conservation is another.